Joe Biden has been all over the news recently. Of course, he's the front runner for the Democratic nomination still. Many of the stories are odd, some are bizarre. Best example, his recent recounting of a fight he had with a man called Corn Pop. Nobody in this business has been covering Joe Biden quite as long or quite as closely as Brit Hume, so we thought it would be worth getting his take on what we're now learning about Joe Biden. So, Brit, does any of the recent coverage of Biden, the things the rest of us are learning, surprise you as someone who's covered him?
No, not well. Actually, yes. The gaffes. He's always made gaffes. Always has, and they've always been of a certain stripe. They're sort of, he blurts out these things that are, you kind of know what he's trying to say, and he really shouldn't have said them. Like, you know, when he started talking about how, you know, Obama, he described him one time, you know, really articulate and well-spoken and all the things, and the subtext was obviously the last thing on the thing you'd expect a black man to be. Was,
exactly.
Remember that? And that was classic Biden. So was his comment that, you know, poor people, everybody's as smart as white people. Remember when he said that recently? That's a classic Biden gaffe. And they're of a piece with the kinds of gaffes that he's been making since I've known him, which goes back to when he first came to the Senate all those years ago. More recently, however, some of the things he's blurted out have been of a different character. When, for example, he said that those Parkland students had come to see him when he was vice president. They didn't see him until he'd been out of office for more than a year. Now, that's a memory lapse. And when he's standing there in Keene, New Hampshire, and somebody says, "How do you like Keene?" He says, "What a great place it is, and what's not to like about Vermont." That's a memory deal. And he's having more and more of those memory lapses, which are common and understandable and not unusual. But, you know, when you're that age, that's an issue.